Many brands that I've talked to are losing millions of dollars by not being on online marketplaces such as Amazon, Walmart, Target, etc. They think that if they put their brands on there, they're going to be ruining their brand image and dealing with a lot of hassle. In this video, I'm going to be explaining what those brands are missing out on, the long-term effects of that, what the primary hesitations that they have, and how we've managed to overcome those hesitations in the past. If you're a D2C brand or primarily in retail stores and you're worried about online marketplaces, this video is for you. My name is Jassim Isa, CEO and founder of Videra, an Amazon e-commerce company that's helped dozens of brands scale on Amazon and other online marketplaces, and we've generated hundreds of millions of dollars in sales doing so. So the first thing I wanted to start off with is, what are these brands missing out on by not being on online marketplaces? There's a lot of them, but I'm gonna be notating the most important ones. So the first thing is obviously market share. So a lot of brands think that if I'm not, I'm doing fine in retail and D2C, but if your product is needed, there's a market gap on these online marketplaces, and eventually, even if it's an inferior brand, they're going to jump into that gap. They're going to make a product, and the customer is going to look for that replacement, and they're not necessarily going to want to go to your website every time or go to the retail stores to buy it. There's hundreds of millions of, I think it was 200 million people have Prime memberships in the US, which is crazy. That's more than half of the population. And a lot of those want to take advantage of that membership. So they're just going to go online, they're going to go and buy that product from there, and even if that's a competitor. And even worse, if it's a if you have a consumable product, they might get on the subscriber list, and there you go, you've lost a customer forever. And that's one of the biggest downfalls we've seen, is that the longer you wait, the more likely you're losing customers. And then, even related to that, if they're buying your product at a retail store, let's say they're at Walmart, you have shelf space there, a customer buys it, they like it, they want to buy it again, or they recommend it to a friend, let's say, they go to search for that product online. Cust- Online people like us, we can see what people are searching for. And if, let's say, they're searching for your brand and you're not there, we can't include your brand name in SEO, obviously. But what a competitor can do is that they can include your brand name in PPC. They're going to pay a little bit higher, but they're still going to take that because the alternative isn't there. And you're going to lose out on all that market share. So that's a big one as well. This is obviously not taking away from the fact that you're going to be losing short-term revenue, each other than the long-term market share that I described in subscribers and other people's short-term revenues, that the continuous orders that your brand has, especially if it's in retail and doing well in D2C. I'm assuming that obviously you're going to have a great product, that there's a need for it. But again, customers, you don't have the negative assumption or the entitled mindset that, oh, they're going to come to me if they need it. Right now, it's obviously a consumer centric marketplace and economy, that where we have to go find the customers, and regardless of what marketplace that is, which is why we try to have a market presence not just on Amazon but Walmart, Target. If someone has a Target the red membership, I forgot what its name is, if they have a membership there, we want to be there with that product so we can make it convenient for them to buy. One other thing that I wanted to mention that brands lose out is obviously brand image and protection. So this is a huge one as well. This is where, like, if you're available in retail and D2C, the retailers, they might discount your product. You don't control map with Walmart, Target. You're not telling them what to do. So they might discount your product. And then that's where arbitrage people can come in. They know that there's a grab for that product. They're going to make your listing online. They might make it look like crap. Were very bad pictures. They're going to decide the price they want, and they're going to put it up on Amazon, let's say. And that's your listing is going to be there, a very poor quality listing. And that's going to reflect on your brand. So might as well take ownership of that presence. Take ownership of your listings, your brand image on Amazon, on Walmart, on Target, so that you can have at least maintain map, but more importantly, have a positive brand image and brand protection, so that you're taking ownership of that stuff, and you have your brand registry with Amazon. Walmart now has a similar portal, and Target obviously as well, where you're taking ownership of that presence, the look, the feel, and you have consistency, and overall it's making your brand look more professional. And along that lines, I actually want to mention an example. Basically, we had one of the brands that was in Walmart in D2C, but they didn't care much about like the other online marketplaces. And the issue that they had is that this has been going on for a few years. Again, they had other resellers make up their listings on online marketplaces. The first sale doctrine obviously protects them. What they're doing is perfectly legal. and they're listing it on all the marketplaces, but the listings were really poor and they didn't take ownership of that. And now they're jumping in. There's like dozens of unauthorized resellers. There's listings all over the place, like variations. There's like a size, let's say 2 is on its own listing, where a size 3 is on another listing, and it's all messy. And it took us around just 2 months to fix all this stuff. Thankfully, once we did, they added over $1 million to their top line revenue, just as a brand as a whole, other than the sales that they additionally got, just by fixing up those listings and organizing things and making it look more professional. And they've actually seen that reflection even in it fed into their retail stores and D2C. And we're assuming because they have a better overall look. Here are the most common reasons we see brands hesitate to go on marketplaces, and some of them are warranted, actually, if I'm being honest. So the first one is fear of losing pricing control or over their brand. That now they have numerous marketplaces, resellers are going to find their listings lucrative. They're going to jump on them, and this could be an issue. You have to make sure that you're agreeing with your retailers on, hopefully you're able to sell their products to them at a price where they're going to have to at least maintain the map, or you have some kind of arrangement where it's at least when they let you know that they're lowering their map, that you can lower it also on the online marketplaces, so you can maintain the featured offer or buy box, as it's known as, on the online marketplaces. And to have that presence for different marketplaces have different rules on allowing resellers, but generally that's the problem that you're going to have with different pricing controls. So it's something that you're going to have to continuously navigate. I recommend obviously fixing it from the root cause, making sure that you're on the same page with the retailers, the buyers at your retailers. You're always communicating with each other on the different things. The second thing is obviously no ownership of the customer. This is I think a illegitimate one. I get that with D2C, it's obviously the ideal one, like Shopify, your own Shopify website. You have full ownership of the customer. You have their email, you have all that kind of stuff. But even in retail, you're also not owning the customer. That customer is going to Walmart, they can replace with another product. And the same goes for online marketplaces. This is a warranted concern. You do have less ownership of the customer. You can possibly, like I said, if you have good deals on your website where you have a subscribe and save, you can eventually get them there. But think of it this way, that at least, like, if you didn't have your product on those marketplaces, the customer won't have your product and you won't own the customer either. But at least if you have the product on the marketplace, they're going to get your product, you're going to be in their face, but yes, you won't own their information and have access to that as easily. So it is a disadvantage, but it's better than nothing for sure. The third one is obviously brand dilution and making it look unprofessional. This one is fully unwarranted. They think that by getting on online marketplaces, their brand isn't going to look unprofessional. Being on these marketplaces, you see now the biggest brands making an official relationship with Amazon themselves. This includes brands like Michael Kors, Coach, so premium A-tier brands. So if they're making that move, they're obviously did the studies that the marketplaces have legitimate buyers. It doesn't ruin the brand image over the long term. So this one is unwarranted, and I think it's an illegitimate concern. And then finally, this one also is a warranted concern, is overwhelmed by marketplaces. There's so many fees. There's different types of fees. There's inbound fees, outbound fees, referral fees, pick and pack fees, storage fees. There is a lot of it to study. It's going to take a while to get a hang of it, but it's an investment that you eventually have to make, either on your own or with a partner like ourselves at Videra, that we've obviously studied these marketplaces for a decade. But there is a lot of nuance to it. I do agree. There's advertising fees, all that kind of stuff. But you're gonna have to bite the bullet, so might as well learn it. It's a investment that you have to take, and it'll pay off over the long term. So finally, here's some practices that we found really healthy to maintain that marketplace presence and to do it effectively. The first one is basically to have a multi-marketplace presence. So even if a marketplace doesn't do that well for your brand particularly, I would still encourage having a listing up on there, because there's some marketplaces, for example, like Target Plus, they're not allowing resellers at the moment. So they're only allowing one seller per brand. So might as well have that be you. Get there in front of the brand. It's an invite only program. If we have access to it, so that's something that you have to make sure you're getting ahead to. But then other stuff like Walmart, to Amazon, all the marketplaces, even eBay, just making sure that you're on there, you have your map on there, it's organized, because at least you have an understanding of where your distribution is and how the product is organized accordingly. And the second very important thing is carefully choosing your supply chain and distributors. There's a lot of distributors that are basically, they're going to buy your product, they're going to tell you it's going overseas, it ends up back on online marketplaces. You have to vet the people that you're selling to. You want to make sure that it's legitimately going to the right place. We have had issues with our brands thinking they got a big deal to sell to someone that's supposed to go to a retailer, eventually ends up in a place they didn't want to. So vet your distributors very heavily and make sure that you're reviewing this thoroughly. And also, even the distributors that you do agree with, like Walmart, at Target, make sure you're understanding the terms, that you're understanding how long is this, what kind of products do they have, what assortment will they have, versus maybe you can have a different assortment for Amazon. We've done this in the past where they're not cannibalizing each other's sale, where Walmart has something, Amazon has slightly different variation. Although we don't necessarily recommend it because it has its drawbacks as well, but that's something that could work. And just to give you an example of the importance of controlling the marketplaces, is that we've had a brand that the buy box got suppressed on Amazon. If you don't know what suppressed is, it's basically when you have to press on see all buying option instead of having like a big add to cart. And we tried to figure out what's the issue. It turns out that they had a leakage in their supply chain. Someone got it and they were selling on eBay for a lower price. Amazon doesn't like when there's a lower price online for that product. They always want to be the lowest price for the product. So they punish you by taking away your buy box. So it took us a while, but eventually we find out who it was. We found out there's remaining quantity. We found out where they got it from, and we obviously worked with the brand, the partner brand, to eliminate that route and to make sure we have that under control. So all in all, obviously, I hope I explained how big of a deal online marketplaces are. They're going to add, depending on your brand size, they could double or triple your obviously your top line revenue without exaggeration. So make sure that when you do get on it, you're getting on it the right way. You're taking the precautions that I mentioned in this video, or you're partnering obviously with someone like us to make sure that you're attacking it the right way. You're organizing everything and taking advantage of it. And also, it's important to understand that it's a flywheel. You can leverage D2C to grow retail, to grow these marketplaces, and they all work hand in hand. And overall, a rising tide should lift all boats. All these marketplaces, ideally, and these distribution channels should positively impact each other and grow with each other. So if you like this video, make sure to watch this video that describes how to grow online and retail together that I was just mentioning. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave any comments if you have any questions, specific concerns with going on marketplaces. I'd love to address them.